Hello, it's Emily. I just wanted to share some things that I experienced in the last 2 months. I It's all tied into JFK High School. I was very lucky and fortunate to attend two reunions in the span of 2 months. My cross country and track reunion at Sunken Meadow State Park on July 28th of this year, 2019, where I got to see all of my fellow teammates from the cross country team and the track team. And it was a great turnout. And it was actually my very first social gathering amongst my JFK friends where I was accepted and treated kindly and with respect as my transgender self, Emily. And I was a little apprehensive, to be honest with you, in going because I didn't really know how I would be received. But I've been friends on Facebook with many of my cross country teammates, and they always treated me with kindness and respect, and they accept me as Emily. My birth name and the name that you all know me by is Edward Donald Iannelli III. And I have not changed my name legally, and I don't want to. I can't, and it's just too many things going on in my life that it would not be a good idea. So I go by Emily informally, but all my records are in my birth name, and that's fine with me. Because I can always say, I live now as Emily. I don't need a formal document saying it's legal. But what I'm trying to say is everybody that I got to see on my uh, picnic outing at Sunken Meadow State Park with regard to my fellow teammates, cross country and track, was a wonderful day. And we got to celebrate our coach, Coach Alan J. Bukowski, who was very instrumental in my life. He became like a surrogate father to me because my parents unfortunately had a lot of struggles, and Coach really helped me out a great deal. He actually saved my life. If it wasn't for Coach, I probably wouldn't be here today. But it wasn't just Coach, it was all my teammates. We loved each other. We always had great times running, and I wasn't a runner. I never even tried it, but Coach Bukowski saw something in me and he recruited me on the team. He just came up to me on the lunch line and he said, "Yeah, I want you to run for me." And I said, "But I don't run." And he said, "It doesn't matter. We're going to teach you." So he said, "Come to my office at the end of the school day and we're going to suit you up." And I went and I met him, and he was very sincere, kind. And there's not, how do I express it? When you feel so affected emotionally by a teacher who's also a coach and they believe in you, that was a tremendous thing for me because it helped me with my self-esteem. It helped me because I was a shy young man, young, 17, and I was a very much a loner. I was extremely shy, had a difficult time socially with guys and girls. I just didn't relate, and I had my own personal struggles, but I'll tell you, it was a wonderful experience to be on that track team and cross country team. I met so many great people. Um, we were a team. We band together, and we even had a girl on our team. It was all us guys and one girl, and she was so amazing as an athlete. I can't say it in words because she was tremendous, and all my teammates were tremendous, and we got to see each other on July 28th, 2019 at Sunken Meadow State Park. And despite my anxiety and fears, everything turned out wonderful. And they embraced me, and we got to acknowledge our coach with a plaque to make him realize how much he influenced our lives for the best. and how he was an integral part of us growing up in our high school days and being mature. And I'll tell you, running is a very good way to get in touch with to be in touch with your emotions, because it's you on a race course by yourself. But really, you're not by yourself because you have your teammates out there cheering you on. I never had that before. I was accepted. I was a teammate, and I had coach who was out there looking out for all of us. I was the lowest on the totem pole, basically. I never went beyond JV. I wasn't in the elite echelon of our runners on the team, but that didn't matter to coach. Whether you were the best or you were down the hierarchy of the team, it didn't matter to him. He loved all of us, and he treated us the same with dignity and respect, whether we were on the JV team or the varsity team. It didn't matter to him. And he cheered us on just as much as my teammates. And he gave us the incentive to be the best we could. And I tried my best. I was a lot slower than all the other runners, but I finished all my races. I was devoted and dedicated to them. And I was just so blessed to be on a team with such wonderful people, with a wonderful coach. And the picnic celebration was wonderful. The only problem was when I got home, I got into a very bad car accident and my car was totaled. But it doesn't diminish the fun and the love I had on that picnic. On the picnic, at the picnic for those several hours that we came together. And it was like being transported back to high school. That's how special and wonderful it was for me. Now, just last night, we had another reunion, our JFK High School 40th year reunion, and I got to see so many people who I love and cherish and value as friends. However, 40 years I hadn't seen them. Most of them I hadn't seen in 40 years, because we graduated and we went on to be who we are as people, as professionals, and we all went our own separate ways. And I thought that we would never see each other again. And that's what makes last night so very special, because we did get to see each other again, just like when I went to the cross country reunion, and I was nervous. I was scared, to be honest with you. I didn't know the reception I would get, but I didn't have to worry. And I didn't have to get all nervous. And I didn't have to feel socially anxious because I was welcomed and I was treated with respect. And that's the same experiences I had last night, because I was very reluctant to go there too, And it's not the $100 I spent. I mean, I could have just skipped out on it because I was a lot of social anxiety I had inside of me, and I was nervous. It's hard for people to adjust to change, and I changed a lot, but I was treated with dignity and respect there as well as in the cross country reunion. And I can't say thank you enough to all of you who embraced me and accepted me for who I am. My life has been a struggle, and I don't want to go into it, but I tried to take my life. I was miserable and I have depression, and when I came out, I lost my job. And I was a good accountant, a CPA. I was very professional. And I was naive. I thought that coming out would be okay and that people would embrace me like you, my fellow classmates at JFK High School, Bellmore, class of 79. I thought that people would embrace me and accept me. But in the working world, it's not like that. People, once you change and, admit that you're transgender, it backfired. I have no regrets for transitioning, because this is who I am as a person. I always struggled. I knew way back when I was 3. And that's why I was closed off in schools and high school and college. I just couldn't relate to people. I was so much a loner. But cross country saved me because I had teammates, I had friends, I had a wonderful coach. And I had fun. And I had fun seeing all my classmates last night. It was wonderful. And you all accepted me and embraced me. And I've been struggling. And I have a son who's autistic, 20. And I haven't worked in 7 years, so I'm having a lot of issues and problems. But I decided I would go to the reunion, and I had a great time. And I'm so grateful to have wonderful friends, even though we don't see each other. And I posted something on YouTube that I posted on Facebook, and it drew attention. Ronald Steiger was worried about me, and he reached out to help me. And he had contacts that went to JFK, and they call me and check up on me to make sure I'm okay. And I struggle with my son's situation, you know, and surgery was a very difficult decision for me, and I had it canceled so many times because I was in hospitals many, many times for depression, a lot of things, bipolar disorder. And I'm upset I'm not working, you know. The only thing keeping me afloat is my disability. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't be around. So, you know, and I'm just grateful to have good friends. And I haven't seen most of you in 40 years, but last night was magical because despite 40 years going by, we got to see each other. And there were a lot of friends there that I didn't even get to see, that I wanted so much to see. It's just I couldn't really, my mobility is really cut down a lot. I have to readjust, and it takes time. And so basically, I was hanging out at the table like I did in high school. Cafeteria, I sat by myself many times because I was too afraid to open up to people. But last night and the cross country reunion, they were both big events for me because I got to go as Emily. And those were the only two occasions in my life from 2012 on. You're talking 7 years. I never had those experiences. The cross country reunion and the high school reunion, that was the those two times were the first time I went out as Emily. I've been living as Emily for the past 7 years, but just going to the malls and having outings with a few friends, mostly LGBT friends. Those were and going to do karaoke at the LGBT Center in Queens. Those were my outings, basically, and taking my son out to the movies and all. But these were legitimate social events, and I was treated with dignity and respect at both functions, and I'm very grateful for that. Words can't express how much I'm grateful for that. And I'm sad that I didn't get to see some of my friends last night. They were there, but I just couldn't get around, you know? But a lot of my friends came over to me and talked to me, and that made me feel so happy. But I just wanted to let you all know that I'm very happy that I got to spend those two occasions with all of you, my fellow teammates from cross country days and track days, and my fellow classmates from our JFK class of 1979 reunion. 40 years. That's a long time, 40 years. But last night when I met my friends, it was like we were back in high school, teenagers, you know, and 40 years has weighed heavily on us. You know, we're older, wiser, and we are good people, all of us. I love all of you, and I'm just grateful, you know. And it's sad that we have to wait every 10 years to get to see each other if you are able to even come to the reunion. And it's sad that a lot of you couldn't come because you live so far away. And it's really, really sad that we lost classmates. They're no longer with us. And that's very, very sad. And I'm a very emotional person. So I knew all those people on that memorial list, all of them. And it just makes me sad because knowing that I knew them and I was friends with all of them and they're gone, that makes me very sad because the reality is we're all going to be gone one day. And that's why we need these kind of occasions to celebrate because that's life too. It's not about struggle, it's not about stress, it's not about making a living. Those things are very important, but also the intrinsic things to meet people that we knew from 40 years ago, back in 1979, and to see them again. I went to the 30-year high school reunion too, and it was just as wonderful. But then when I went there, I was me, Edward Ionelli, and that's how I always was. But this going for the 40 was special because I got to go as Emily, and people were very happy I made it, and they were treating me with such kindness, and they just made me feel wonderful, you know? Because being transgender is a struggle, and sadly, not a lot of people understand it. And double sadly is they don't accept people like me. But not at the reunions I went to. Everybody accepted me because I'm a good person, you know? And I would never hurt anybody intentionally, you know? Because I care about people. And though we won't see each other, our paths won't cross again, you know? And who knows, 50 years reunion, I don't know. I don't even know if I'll be here still. And that's a long time, 10 years. So that's what made this reunion extra special. 40 years, because we got the opportunity to go, you know? And it was right on top of us. And then I realized, you know, I'm scared. I have a lot of social anxiety. But I'll never know unless I go. And that was the same with the cross country reunion. I'll never know unless I go. And I'm so happy I did for both occasions because I was happy. I had a great time. Got to see old friends, and they accepted me and treated me with kindness, love, and reached out to me and addressed me the way I present myself as Emily, you know? Edward was a good person too, and I'm the same person, you know, but I'm expressing who I truly am as a person, you know? And I have to because that is what keeps me going. And my son. And I've got a lot of issues and I got worries. And I've been in the hospitals over 100 times in the past 7 years. Tried to take my life several times. But God wants me here still. And I need to take care of my son and family. God wants me to be here because I almost died in a car accident right on the day that we had our cross country reunion. I literally was bracing to die. That's how bad it was, how scared I was. And I told the police when they came that my car locked up, the accelerator locked up, and I couldn't stop the car. And I swerved out of the way of the car in front of me because if I hit that car, oh God, that would have been a catastrophe. I might not be here today, and who knows what would have happened with the other passengers in the car in front of me and the car behind me. So I swerved to my right. I avoided them, hit the curb, went slightly airborne, and as I was ready to hit trees, I was literally bracing to die. But God saved me. And thank God my son wasn't in the car with me, you know? It was just me because I was coming home from the cross country reunion. And I just got bad news that Toyota investigated the car and they could find nothing definitively wrong with the accelerator. But I was in that car, and they didn't even give me the benefit to speak my uh, experiences in that car. And I'm very upset, and I'm going to call them and I'm going to say, look, you made this judgment, you did all your engineering tests, but I know what happened because I was in the car. You weren't in the car. So I have to call Toyota and get this straightened out because they're going to hold me to paying off the balance of my 6-year loan. And I only had the car for a little more than a year. So they're going to hold me to that. And I also have a leased car, 3 years. So I'm stressed out to the max. And I got my 15 years left on my 30-year mortgage. So I'm stressed out. My son is 20 and he's autistic, and we have to make the hardest decision of our lives by most likely having to place my son in a group home, and it's killing me. He's our only child, and I had high expectations, but I have to be realistic, you know? My son's a wonderful kid, and it tears me up inside, you know? It's not easy, because I was very introverted and shy myself, and he struggles with autism just like I struggle with being transgender. I can't emphasize enough how important it was to go to these reunions because they validated me as a person, both experiences, and I'm truly grateful. And I have wonderful friends, and I am having a wonderful life. My favorite movie, It's a Wonderful Life, with Jimmy Stewart. Uh, it was truly magical, those two reunions, and I'm grateful because I don't think I'll be around for the 50th, but I had this chance, and I am so glad I decided to go to both occasions. Because if I didn't, I would never know uh, what would have been, and what did happen was I was accepted, and that is priceless. All the money in the world wouldn't match knowing that people care about you and accept you. Millions of dollars would never give me that experience of being cared and loved. Nothing would compare to that. So I'm realistic. I know one day I'm going to die. And that's very hard for me to reconcile in my mind. Though I tried to take my life, which is ironic. But I lived through those experiences, those horrors. And I'm strong. And I have to be strong. And I'm a survivor. And I have friends that I met uh, at the reunion who are very sick. And I feel so bad, you know? They're struggling and I'm worried for them, you know? Uh, and I'm glad I got to see my friends. And it was great because I hadn't seen most of you since we graduated in 1979. And I felt welcome. And it was wonderful. And Kenny Beck, you did wonderful. You did a great thing for our class. And you are the same as I remember you back in high school. You're just great. And Peter Fader, too, you are wonderful, both of you, for putting this all together. I only saw Kenny, though. I didn't see Peter. But I'm grateful to both of you, and I'm grateful to all our classmates of the class of 1979. And I, I'm happy. I slept all day today. I wasted the whole day because I was just so tired, but I was so happy too. Last night was wonderful, you know? And all those who weren't able to come, at least you can see pictures and see how much we had such a great time. You know, it was great. I didn't get many pictures personally, and I borrowed some pictures that I saved and presented as my pictures, but most of them were other of my classmates' pictures. But I shared them, even though I duplicated them because of their posts. But I wanted to show that I had a great time. So I'm just grateful. I'm happy. And I hope things turn around in my life. Because I have a friend who I might not have gone yesterday because I'm worried about my other friend down in Florida. You know, he's going through a difficult time. And I hope that he can turn his life around just like I have to turn my life around. You know, there's hope. And we have to be optimistic. You know, and we have to live our lives. And we have to be happy. And I was happy last night. And I'm glad I went to our 40-year high school reunion, class of 1979, JFK Bellmore. I'm very happy. And I'm happy, too, that I went to the JFK cross-country reunion, too. So I just wanted to express my gratitude and share it with all of you. And I'm very grateful. Friendships are truly special, And you can't put a price tag on friendship. It's very, very special. So thank you all for being a part of my life, a wonderful part of my life. And if I never see you again, just remember that I love all of you, you know? And life is hard because we make friends, but we are separated just like families, like uh, parents and their children grow up and go on to school and then live their own lives, you know? That's part of life. So I'm grateful. And thank you so much for being there for me too and accepting me. It really means a lot to me. Thank you. Emily, Ianelli, Edward, Ianelli, Emily. You couldn't even call me Eddie. I don't care. I just want to be out and happy and see all of you. And thank you for making this a wonderful experience, both cross country and high school 40th reunion.